Hey guys, Dark Gray, bringing you my competitive Salamangreat deck profile for July 2020. After doing a couple of the budget variants of the deck, I had some questions on my competitive profile. So, while we wait for some exciting new cards and reprints to be released in the upcoming Battles of Legend Armageddon in a couple weeks and the 2020 Megatons in August, I figured I'd bring you this deck profile in the meantime. With those upcoming releases, I hope you stay tuned for some spicy deck profiles involving reprints like Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion, Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, and more. But with that out of the way, let's get into the deck profile. Starting off for the main deck, we have our fantastic yet sadly limited Salamangreat Gazelle. Now, Gazelle is rumored to be getting a reprint in the Battles of Legend Armageddon, where I am hoping that it will get a secret rare upgrade. Otherwise, I feel like a couple of the hollow spots for Salamangreats could have been better suited for cards like Salamangreat Falco or Fowl, as they still do not have a holographic form. However, we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we have a great pseudo-normal summon in the deck with 2 Salamangreat Foxy. Also has a great graveyard effect to go ahead and pop face-up spells or traps. So a nice card to be able to see in your hand and act as good discard fodder potentially. We also have Salamangreat Spinny at 2, which similar effects like Foxy where it has great graveyard effects. Also, you can go ahead and use its in-hand effect to trigger things like Gazelle to special summon itself, or it just acts as an easy 1-card Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Next up, we also have 2 Jack Jaguar, who also will serve as an easy way to access a Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, and it also enables our entire engine to keep recycling itself. Then we have the 1 Salamangreat Fowl and the 1 Salamangreat Falco. Now, Fowl is just here for some easy rank 4 Xyz plays, and we have the 1 Falco to bounce back cards like Gazelle to our hand and keep recycling it, or to be able to send to the graveyard and set a Salamangreat spell or trap card back to the field. Then, for our main normal summon of the deck, we have our 3 Flame Buffalo. Now, I still prefer Flame Buffalo over what some of the competitive players have been cutting in favor of things like Lady Debug, which I will say Lady Debug does allow you to grab any specific Cyberse monster you want from your deck to your hand that is level 4 or lower. However, it is a little bit weaker to Handtraps, and with Flame Buffalo you can get a nice discard of any of the Salamangreat monsters, which generally have great graveyard effects, and dig a little bit deeper into your deck for things like Handtraps or any of your regular traps when you're setting up going first. So all in all, it is a little bit of a preference. It can be a little bit awkward sometimes to get nice discard fodder into your hand because we run a limited number of Salamangreat monsters. However, all in all, it has not been too much of an issue for me, and for your personal preference can easily be swapped out for Lady Debug. Then one of the new and more recent staple inclusions into the deck are going to be 3 Parallel Exceed. Now, Parallel Exceed just enables easy rank 4 plays and even more Cyberse fodder for, say, some Link summons if you really need to go that route. Just an amazing card that I think everybody should include for Salamangreats. Moving on to Handtraps, we have our 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. Pretty staple in this deck, especially with it being fire attribute, so you can recycle it with things like Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. And again, it is just the most generic hand trap in the game and will be good basically forever unless it gets super power crept at some point. Then we have our 3 Effect Veiler. Now, these can be infinite impermanence if you would like, however I do not currently own them, but Effect Veiler in itself is just another amazing hand trap to stop any of our opponent's plays, which with Needle Fiber running around in the format rampant right now, things like Ash Blossom and Effect Veiler are going to be extremely effective against those strategies. And then because of the aforementioned combo decks using things like Needle Fiber or Christian Helifibrax to make some of their combos, we are also main decking 3 Nibiru the Primal Being. Now again, just with so many people comboing off and taking advantage of the easy link climbing ability or synchro ability using tuners and synchros in the game currently, Nibiru is just a great option in the main deck to help stop or nullify any of the advantage that our opponent may be gaining off of those card effects. Then lastly for monsters, we have our 2 Fantastical Dragon Phantasme to help dig into our deck for more hand traps or just to fix our hands. Again, with Needle Fiber or Crystron Halifibrax running around in the format right now, it is almost always live and just a great generic card when you're facing against any kind of link strategy. Also, the protection effect from targeting is great, and it's just an easy side-out slot if you need it. On to our spells and traps. For the main deck, we play our 1 Salamangreat Sanctuary. Then we have the 1, and again sadly limited, Salamangreat Circle to search any of our Salamangreat monsters, or to be able to protect a link monster if the case is necessary. Then for additional search power in the deck, we run our 3 Cynet Mining, and this card is almost arguably better than Salamangreat Circle, because if you do have any Salamangreat in your hand that you can discard, then it can trigger Gazelle immediately as you search it and be able to pop off from there. Then for some more Salamangreat spell cards, we have 2 Will of the Salamangreats. Then for consistency, and since we don't care too much about what we banish as long as we get our Gazelle out, we have our 3 Pot of Desires. Again, just an amazing card, +1. It's not a -9. Sorry guys, just gotta play it. Then for our trap cards, we run our 2 Salamangreat Rage to be able to pop our opponent's cards, and we have our 2 Salamangreat Roar. Again, it kind of depends whichever matchup you're versing, which one's going to be better than the other, but we always want to try to see 1 in our hand if possible, and they're just amazing cards overall. And that's going to complete it. That's going to be 40 cards for the main deck. In the extra deck, we have the pretty typical 3 Salamangreat Baylings. Again, I like it for its ability to work in tandem with Flame Buffalo and kind of chain block, so it's definitely a neat interaction. Then we have our 3 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, which just makes the entire engine run. Then we have our 2 Salamangreat Heat Leo, which all of these are pretty staple, so I don't think there should really be any questions on any of these. We also have our 1 Nightmare Phoenix to be able to pop some back row. And then we also have a little engine for our Cyberse monsters with our newly included Splash Mage, which helps recur any Cyberse monster in the graveyard. Then we also have the Update Jammer and Transcode Talker package to enable us to OTK, and all of these cards just get even better with the inclusion of another newly released card in Access Code Talker, which just absolutely ends games. This helps so much for Salamangreats to be able to push for game and OTK out of nowhere. Basically just a bunch of 2-card combos enables Access Code Talker. And while Transcode Talker in itself was amazing, Access Code Talker just absolutely is fantastic and a staple in the deck if you are able to access it. Then lastly, in the extra deck, we have 2 rank 4 Xyz monsters. We have our number 41 Baguska and our Abyss Dweller. Now, with the inclusion of Parallel Exceed in the main deck, if you wanted to run the single quote-unquote brick in Gravedigger's Trap Hole, this could easily become a Traptrix Rafflesia if you had it. It's just kind of personal preference thing. I will be testing it out and maybe be included in the future, but for right now, I'm not too scared of Nibiru or any hand traps in Salamangreats. It just has amazing recursion and card advantage when you really get the engine going. So for me, number 41 is perfectly fine, but again, it's up to your personal preference. For the side deck here, we've got our nice Nibiru token for us when we go ahead and bring down the rock on our opponents. Then we also have an additional hand trap in the deck. So I have 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, I have always felt that this hand trap is extremely underrated and can be amazing in so many scenarios. However, if you do want something a little bit more generic and maybe a little bit more flexible, you could go with things like DD Crow. However, I really feel that Ghost Ogre can be great in so many different matchups. Just with the ability to pop any card that might try to activate its effect can really inhibit our opponent's plays moving forward, and definitely is a kind of disruption that they're not necessarily ready for, since Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit isn't super prevalent in the meta currently. Then for those combo boards, when we're forced to go second, we have our Dark Ruler No More. Just turn everything off, go into things like Access Code Talker, just wipe out their entire field, set up for next turn. Really just a great inclusion in the deck. Also for going second, we have what should be, again, 3 Lightning Storm. Now, Twin Twisters here is just a proxy. I'm still looking for that third first edition Lightning Storm. So far, none of the guys kind of around me have been able to get one for me, but hopefully I can go ahead and add the third before competitive play starts back up again. Then for some back row matchups, we have our 2 Cosmic Cyclone. Really just kind of necessary to at least have it kind of in the main or side, with things like Mystic Mind still running around in the current meta. So just an easy inclusion. This could be Twin Twisters if you wanted. Anything else, just a little bit extra hate for back row decks. Then for some specific matchups, we also have our 2 Anti-Spell in 1 Imperial Order. Now, I cut one of the anti-spells just because Imperial Order is limited and just strictly better than anti-spell in a lot of situations, and I felt that running all 4 of them would be a little bit much. But for matchups, say like against Ritual decks, any random Sky Strikers, any of the invoked cards that kind of need their spell cards to go off, just great side deck options when our deck really doesn't rely too heavily on our spell cards, especially after we've already set up and have our Salamangreat engine going. Then lastly, for the side deck, we have our 1 red reboot. For any of those trap matchups, it's great against things like Eldritch, turn off any of their trap cards, and again, with the new ability of having Access Code Talker to punch for game, being able to turn off the trap cards from our opponents just for even a single turn really enables all kinds of new possibilities for Salamangreats to OTK out of nowhere. So everyone, that concludes my competitive Salamangreat deck profile for July 2020. Let me know what you thought about it, what you would change, or how you run the deck differently in the comment section below. I would love to know and hear all your thoughts. Also, I hope you're all doing well out there. It's unfortunate events got canceled through the end of the year, but I believe it's at least a smart choice, and hopefully everything can clear up soon, so when everything starts back up again, we can all play and enjoy the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Yet. I hope you all stay tuned for some amazing upcoming deck profiles, and thank you for all your amazing support. With that being said, stay safe out there. Peace.